city or a town, of frown. The business of a crown, of the living that abounds, of the church and the announcements. It's doing what counts, the underground sound in a city or a town, of frown. The business of a crown, of the living that abounds, of the church and the announcements. It's doing what counts. The underground sound is the voice within, to give ear to the spirit and to flee from sin, to live for Jesus and the praise of him, by not selling out for the praise of men, to do whatever it takes, no matter what the cost, to keep pushing up the weight, carrying the cross, straight bench pressing sin, defend the word that lacks, and your best mention him, or then you gon' die. Cause the underground sound in a city or a town, the business of a crown, of the living that abounds, and the church and the announcements. It's doing what counts, the underground sound in a city or a town.
All right, we are live and alive on the Underground Sound. We got Brian Dobson here, the owner of Metroflex Gym. I was telling Pete recently, Brian, definitely the video that I've watched more than anything ever was the Ronnie Coleman's Unbelievable video. You know, I've seen that probably like 600 million times. That used to be like my inspiration. And me and my buddy, we would always laugh about it, because we'd be like, man, this dude, Brian Dobson, is like probably bigger than anybody you'll ever see. But then next to Ronnie, he looks so small.
Yeah, definitely. That's for sure.
Did you teach Ronnie pretty much, everything he knows about bodybuilding, and set him out on his his routine and stuff like that?
Well, with Ronnie, at the beginning, he knew how to lift weights. He'd been a high-level football player, middle linebacker for Grambling University. So, he had a very good, knowledge of weightlifting. He'd done powerlifting in high school. Hadn't really tapped his potential in powerlifting, but he had done it. And then when he came here, of course, I immediately recognized that this guy could go all the way. It was, he had 21-inch arms without training arms. It was incredible. And basically at the beginning, I taught him everything. Taught him how to eat, how to pose, how to train like a bodybuilder. But we still did a lot of powerlifting as well. But later on, Ronnie is his own man. He grew into his own type of training. He became he kind of had his own system towards the end there. Basically, he would do everything twice a week. He had a lot of other people grow into the group as well as he became more popular. The workouts, for me, I like to train at a very fast pace, so I didn't really like that type of training. But, I would still spot him on the heavy stuff and try to get him fired up, of course. He would do, he would do like an all dumbbell workout for chest. Then he would do an all barbell workout for chest. He would do a heavy leg day that involved, back squat would be the mainstay. The next one would be front squat or something along those lines. Or you may do hack squat and then you would do leg press. But there was a method to it. And really the thing that set Ronnie apart on these workouts for me, he would also send in the back. Deadlift and rowing motions would be one. The next one would be more cable movements and pull downs. And he got so big he couldn't really do pull-ups that good. We always did tons of pull-ups in the beginning, but when you're weighing 330 pounds, that got a little rough, doing pull downs. But he would do, the thing, like I said, that made him special was the amount of weight that he could do for high reps was insane. Never seen anybody do the stuff he did, on a consistent basis, day in, day out, all the time. Towards the end of his career, pretty much he trained by himself. We just spotted him, And, of course, you damn sure get inspired just being in that same area with him. A lot of us, we all trained around the same time. Branch would be here, myself. we had a whole group of great bodybuilders, just not that level. All of us look small next to Ronnie. You know, when
Yeah.
Ronnie walked in, we're all just like, okay, here we go. And of course he was very, very intense in his training. I mean, he would do. I mean, there's no telling what he really could have done. I mean, I think sometimes like I remember one time I was spotting him on his legs, and he did 520 perfect reps in the squat. I mean, just perfect, beautiful. I mean, below parallel. I mean, about like I probably would have done, shit, I don't know, 225 back at that time or something. I mean, perfect, easy reps. And of course, I'm like, come on, get some more. He's like, no, that's good enough. Of course, I'm looking down at basically his legs were the size of a quarter horse. And you're like, okay, whatever you say. I mean, obviously it's working. And with the thing that I think that really was impressive back in the day for me, some of the stuff we used to do that was crazy was, I mean, we would do like lunges in the parking lot. Like the parking lot lunge, no one ever did lunges back then. I mean, no one. I mean, it wasn't even a guy's exercise. It was a female exercise. And I'm not really sure how I decided to do it, but this is before I even knew Ronnie. But we were going to go bear hunting. First time bear hunting. Texas, we don't have bears, but New Mexico does. So we're going to go bear hunting. And we're going to go up into the mountains. My plan is to kill a bear and then carry it out, And I'm like, man, I'm going to get my cardio better. I'm going to have to get stronger. And somehow I came up with walking lunges was going to do that. And I remember the first time, walked out there, had a wheel, 135, threw it on my back, lunged all the way to Cooper Street and back, which is probably about a 200-yard round trip. I did that like 3 times. And, I was, I was not a beginning bodybuilder at that time. I'd already squatted 705 in competition and done many, many high rep, heavyweight workouts. But I've never been that sore, ever. I mean, the next day, it was like incredible. I mean, my quads, my hamstring, my butt, everything. I'm like, whoa, I think we stumbled onto something here, And then, of course, we continued to do it. At one point, I mean, Ronnie could do 365 in the walking lunge. I mean, it was. Well, we didn't go that far. We probably went maybe 70 yards total. But still, I mean, and I remember I did it. I did it that same day. And I swear, I thought, I said, man, I've escaped all these years without a hernia. I finally got one, man. And I didn't, thank God. But I mean, after that, we never went that heavy ever again. But most of the time, he did those with maybe like 185. But I mean, I'm talking, 200 yards, man. And and when he would do those, that was towards the end. That was after he'd done a bunch of other stuff. And of course, his legs were extremely huge. I mean, who knows how big they really were, man. I mean, I don't know. But we used to have this old trash can in the office, and then we'd get out of that sun, come inside, and I'd be looking at his legs. I'd look at that trash can, and it's a pretty good sized trash can. And I swear they were the same size. And he would, you could visibly see those legs grow when he did those lunges. I mean, that seemed to affect his legs, to me, even more than the other stuff. Of course, maybe to him it was something else. I don't know. But to me, that was like a visible change in the, in the pump, just like, everybody has the exercise for their arms, where they do it. And all of a sudden, oh, yeah, here we go. I'm a man again. Boom, I'm back up to 19 or whatever, But like with him, to me, that really made a difference. And I know how hard those were. So that was almost more impressive to me than some of the other feats of strength, And, we used to have people come here every year. We had the Ronnie Coleman weekend. And when we had that, I would always train on legs. And I mean, I'm talking from the whole world, London, Ireland, Germany, Japan, and all across the U.S. And some of these dudes are some bad son of bitches, man. I mean, some were pro bodybuilders, and most of them would already be struggling by the time we get to the walk and lunge part. But I don't think I ever had any of them finish, ever. And I'm talking this after 10 years of people coming here, and probably 20, 30 guys, each time that I would train. We do like groups of like 7, 8 at a time. But I think just the style of training that really all of us did back then, it was, like people like, what's better, heavyweight for high rep or for low reps, or lightweight for high reps? I'd always say, well, really the best is heavyweight for high reps. You know, I mean, you know, here's Ronnie doing 405 for 12 on the bench press, 15 maybe on a good day, 200-pound dumbbells, flat dumbbell 15 times. You know, I mean, that's high reps to me. And I mean, you know, of course, the leg press video where he does the 23-20, I think he does maybe 10 reps with that. But that's on the low end. Most time we did leg presses, I mean, shit, I used to have Branch do 100 reps with 1,000 pounds. I mean, 100. It would take like 7 minutes, you know. I mean, practically. I mean, I remember one time I said, you're just going to leg press for 5 minutes straight, you know, and put like 700-800 pounds in there. And, you know, when you get done with that, you really didn't have to do anything else, man. You know? Very few people could finish that, you know, very few, or you'd have to pull weight, you know. But yeah, I mean, obviously Ronnie was a superhero, man. But, you know, I mean, there's a lot of really great people who come out of here. You know, Branch, of course, is another one. I mean, many crazy feats of strength that he's done. I mean, Josh Bryant. I mean, Josh was crazy strong at one time. I mean, he's still strong. I mean, but one time Josh wanted to become a bodybuilder. And I'm like, okay. I was about 55 years old by then, maybe a little bit younger. And I'm like, I'll train with you. I'll train you for it. So we started training together. And, of course, Josh's mentality was as heavy as possible on every single thing that we did, you know. And I remember we're doing friggin' stiff-legged deadlifts on the bent over rope platform. And he went up to like 785. Did like 7 reps or something like that. I'm like, God dang it, man. I said, really? You know, so, you know, of course, you know, I'm not going to be a pussy. So I think I did 600. I did like 8. And I mean, I thought I was going to go to the hospital the next day. I was so sore, man. I mean, it messed me up. It was hard. And he would do, you know, like bent over row. He'd want to do like 600. I'm like, no. You know, you got to control that weight as well. Like with him, of course, his chest was insane. He could bench. He did like a raw 630 at the beginning of our training. 630. I mean, with a pause. And then, of course, I said, well, you know, for bodybuilding, we got to do reps. And I remember one time he did, I don't remember the exact number, but I think it was 225. I think he did it like 80 times or something like that. It was nuts. I mean, I did like 35. I felt like a stud, man, you know, because I'm like, hell, Dallas Cowboys at the combine, the top guy got like, you know, 30 or something, and he weighed like 300 pounds. I'm weighing 220, feeling pretty good about myself. Then Josh gets on there. And about 4 minutes later, I'm like, man, fuck you, dude. But yeah, he was a freak too, man. I mean, still is. I mean, he's got that explosiveness that is hard to find, you know. I mean, so every once in a while you get people like that, man. We got a new kid here now, man. This kid's gonna be something special. Weighs 178, benched 455 for a double today, raw, and drug free.
Dang.
I mean, squatted God dang, what did he do? I can't even remember. Like a mid-6 with knee sleeves the other day. But, I mean, well below parallel. Pulled a 700 deadlift. He weighs 178 pounds. I'm just like...
Does he compete?
What's that?
Does he compete in powerlifting?
Yeah, I'm going to try and get him into that IPF Worlds, man.
Okay.
That's the goal. He's got to do that. He's got to do a meet in November. I think it's in California to qualify. But, I mean, he's legit, man. I mean, just to see somebody, I mean, he's got a great physique, but he's 178 pounds. I mean, he's, you know.
What's his name?
David Carlisle. Johnny Carlisle. Johnny Carlisle. We call him Johnny Danger. He just showed up here about a month and a half ago, man. I mean, I take no credit for him. I mean, he's a smart cat. He knows this game. He knows powerlifting, for sure, man. But I'm real excited about having him here. It's very inspirational to see a kid that size lifting that kind of weight. I mean, and I'm talking day in and day out. I mean, he did this meet where he did the 700s deadlift, the 6-something squat, and whatever he benched.
Wow.
And I mean, he's back in here Monday, killing it. I'm just like, you know, you probably take a couple of days off after a contest. I don't like taking time off. I'm like, okay. You know, everybody has their own methods. You know, I mean, as you all know, I mean, in this game, everyone I mean, if there was an exact science, hell, we'd all be doing it, I guess, you know. I mean, you look at the way Dorian Yates trained, you look at the way Lee Haney trained, you look at the way Ronnie trained, look at the way Branch trained, look at the way Arnold trained. All of them are different, you know. A lot of people criticize a lot of the people from here, especially Branch and Johnny Jackson, for doing kind of shorter range motion, maybe. They call it cheating, you know, explosive, very, very explosive on everything. I mean, everything. I mean, everything they do is, you know, it's explosive, you know. And but you know, I remember when MD did a deal on the best chess ever. The top three were Ronnie, Branch, and Johnny, and they all kind of trained that same way. So I guess it worked, man. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I remember when Branch got hurt, blew his tricep, and you know, I was his trainer back then, and I said, okay, we're going to just start with real light push downs, one arm cable movements, and everything. And that lasted for about a month, and really his arms started looking good again, you know. And then next thing, man, fuck that shit, go, you know, fucking next thing I know, it's, you know, just balls out, explosive movements again, and you know, it didn't rip, you know. I guess it was okay, you know, but. You know, there's a lot of guys here that train that way, that they're just, everything's like for speed, you know, and then, but it works, you know. I mean, it obviously works because everybody that I've ever trained that way has turned into a damn monster. You know? Of course, I used to train that way. I mean, now knee replacement, shoulder replacement, you know, I'm 63, you know, but, you know, I'm still hitting it, you know. I just got to be. Obviously, I'm not doing what I used to, but I still get it in every day, man. Still try to get a good workout, and you know, still try to lift heavy as I can. You know.
So you competed in both powerlifting and bodybuilding?
I did.
What was it? What was your career like in those sports?
I mean, I was good. I did well in both. You know, it was a very different game back then. In bodybuilding, you basically, to get a pro card, you had to win. You didn't make top 5 in the junior nationals to get a pro card like these guys nowadays. I mean, basically you had in the beginning 2 pros a year, and of course these are guys like Kevin Levrone, you know, Flex Wheeler, you know, it was very, very hard back then. I mean, in the you know, it was just bodybuilding only. We didn't have men's physique. We didn't have classic physique or anything like that. I mean, I'd like to think I could have got a pro card in classic physique, but, you know, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I wasn't good enough then, because obviously there would have been other people competing for that as well. I mean, the heaviest I ever weighed at a contest was like 217. You know, I was 6 foot tall, so by today's standard, that's a stick. You know? I mean, thought I looked good, you know, but yeah, but by today's standards, I mean, heck, I guess Arnold would be considered a stick, you know. But I still look at that physique, and I'm like, you know, in his prime, like when he did Pump and Iron, if I had a choice, that's probably what I'd like to look like above anybody. I mean, just look perfect, you know, kind of very graceful, you know, fluent, didn't have any bad injuries or anything like that, you know, and, you know, could still do athletic things, you know. I mean, that, like a lot of guys now that I see, they're so big. Like we did a home run derby a few years ago to help one of our ladies here that had lupus, and to benefit her, pay her medical bills, and you know, and we got a lot of support, and we had a lot of these huge guys come out. I mean, the bigger they were, the worse they hit. You know, I mean, I'm hitting the ball, you know, 300 plus feet over the fence, and these guys are barely getting it 100 feet, maybe. I mean, I think one guy, and he used to be a pro football player, so he was a good athlete. He hit 1 home run, you know. But outside of that, man, I mean, it was like the bigger guys literally got out hit by the girls. But, you know, it's just different. I mean, like throwing and all that. I mean, you know, athletic movements and heavy weightlifting over a period of time. You got to keep doing your athletic movements. That's for sure. If you don't, you know, it's going to be a hard battle to fight. You know, to be able to throw again, or even to punch or to kick, that's also going to be a battle, in my opinion. You know, I mean, so it's different now. I mean, you have so many great athletes in so many different sports. I mean, MMA and, you know, CrossFit and, you know, powerlifting and Olympic lifting and all that, man. You know, it's all. Oh, sorry about that. It's all. There's just such a bigger gene pool now, man. I mean, you know, now you see guys. I don't know, man. Just actors, amazing. You know, so of course, they've been trained and all that, but back in when I started, it was bodybuilding was a very cult-like fraternity. I mean, my first show it was a light bulb hanging off of a basketball net with about 30 people in the audience.
Yeah.
It's like, but we were very passionate about it, man. I mean, that was 1975. But yeah, but my career, I guess, going back, I mean, it was good. I just had a lot of being here in Texas. I had a lot of influence from some very great powerlifters. I always remember I was probably 19 years old. And there was a gym that was back then it was ladies on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, men Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. But they had one little section of this gym just off by itself that had a bunch of heavy ass weights in there. And there were some world-class powerlifters in there. I mean, guys that were, lifting, squatting over 800 back in 1970 something, deadlifting close to that amount, 500 raw benches. And of course these guys were monsters, and I had a nice bodybuilder's physique, but this gym was really more for powerlifting. And I remember one time I was in the shower afterwards and this dude's over there and I'm looking at his back and it was just freaking huge and dense, and his erectors are sticking out like loaves of bread, and I'm like, God dang it. And he turns around and, what are you looking at, man? You a fag? I'm like, no, I'm just you're pretty awesome, man. I'd love to get my back like that. Quit doing those effing chin-ups and why don't you start doing some deadlifts? I'm like, okay. And then the next workout, he showed me how to deadlift. And I remember I did like 405 for 8. And I'm telling you, it's kind of the same deal, man. I was like crippled, man. After that. I'm like, okay, I'm going to start deadlifting. I did a 650 at 57 years old, still. So I can still pull. Now since I had my shoulder replaced, I don't know what I can really pull, but I've thought about maybe playing it again, see what I could get. It'd be nice to hit one more record or something, I looked up on that kid I was telling you about, because I was looking up the records for him the other day. I said, let's go see what my age group would get. Some guy from Russia did a 530 or something in my age group in weight class. I'm like, man, surely I could do that. So I don't know. We'll see. I definitely don't want to rip it out of the socket either. That's a battle being around here. You see all these people going crazy, and then you want to go crazy, man. It's very hard to avoid that enthusiasm, and you see people just trying so hard, and there's lots of great stories, people that are famous here, but there's probably more great stories, people that no one's ever going to hear of ever, that accomplished some really good things, as well.
We got to hear the story about the infamous story of Mark and the scalp on the wall.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that was a crazy day. That's the day my shoulder got hurt for the first time. We're over there inclining. Yeah, of course, Mark was a freak. Mark was very powerful. Mark is actually the one that brought Branch here originally. He was, training him for free because Branch was sneaking into the gym where Mark worked. Mark had exclusivity. He was the only trainer in this big corporate gym. So there was no other trainers, only Mark. And I think he caught Branch sneaking in with some other kid, but he saw Branch's calves were like a grown-ass man's when he was like 16. And, like a national level bodybuilder grown-ass man. And he recognized that. Anyway, he started training him, and Branch is tough, man, and he started bringing him here right away. But anyway, that particular day, this guy was a LeBaire dancer, male dancer. And Mark had a lot of girlfriends, but if you were one of his girlfriends, he expected complete loyalty, like till death, almost. Once you were in his harem, it was like a lifelong commitment. And this particular girl, I think she was even married, man. I don't even remember, but she was a nut job, man. And I remember her coming up to me one day and like, just want to tell you, I like the way you look a lot better than Mark, 'cause, your physique is pretty. I'm like, man, get the hell away from me, man. This kind of, hell no, and then but she would go up to that club, and I don't know how much she knew about it all, but when she came in with him that day, this guy was here, one of the dancer guys, and it was, it wasn't early in the day, but like 11 o'clock. Usually those guys didn't come in here until about 2 or 3 in the afternoon. And I remember telling him, I said, hey, man, that's great, man. Coming in early, man. You're getting serious. It's great, man. Good job. And then she said hello to him. Well, I don't know what her relationship was with those guys, but pretty sure this guy was just an innocent victim. But I just seen him getting madder and madder, and every set we kept adding weight. We were on the incline. And this is, back when Ronnie could probably incline, I don't know, 365, something like that. And it was about, it was, probably 5-6 reps. Anyway, so I was doing it that same day. I remember Ronnie was lifting it off for me, and all of a sudden Mark snapped. I see him running across the gym, and then Ronnie's like, "Oh shit!" And I was on about my 4th rep. All of a sudden I'm like, "Whoa, damn it, man!" I had to throw the weight off me. I get up, and then Mark's over there basically stomping this guy's head into the ground, and then grabbing him by the hair and like basically did a deadlift while he stood on the guy and pulled his hair out, man. I mean, like scalped him. I mean, it came out, probably about a silver dollar diameter size chunk. And throws it up in the air. And by then, we were able to pull him off of him. But the damage had been done. The poor guy had a glass eye on top of that, too. And when he hit him, that eye came rolling out, too, man. So it was
my God.
Pretty bad day for that cat. I never saw him again, I remember he's like, what should I do? I said, man, I'd call the cops and I'd start carrying a gun everywhere I went, man. I mean, I don't know. But he didn't. That was one thing about Mark. He did a lot of crazy stuff, but he never, ever got caught, man. Never got in trouble. I'm sure he did, but not the whole time I knew him.
Just for saying hi. Just for saying hi, that guy got
Yeah. Sad for him. Poor guy.
Yeah.
But Mark was he was a strong son of a buck, man. I mean, that day he climbed 585.
Oh my God.
It's all raging out. Yeah, 585, 6 wheels. What the hell?
That's insane.
Yeah, he was strong. Strong day. He was like an 800 deadlifter too, man.
Wow. So
he's fun to train with.
How would you incorporate bodybuilding into like a powerlifter's routine? Like if a powerlifter wants to put some mass on and stuff like that?
Well, I mean, I think you still work on your basic movements, and then like a lot of guys think, well, this is my hypertrophy phase or something like that, and then they just train like that. I kind of like the West Side barbell way. A lot of times, there are old videos. I see those guys training, very heavy, and then they would do like a lot of high rep sets, for a pump at the end of the workout. And I mean that's kind of like stuff I did a lot with Josh as well. I mean, some people respond and grow well from heavy weights, and some don't. I mean, my best squat in a contest was 705, and then I thought my legs were going to get huge from that. But when I dieted down after that, they didn't. I hadn't really gained anything. I always had to do high reps on legs for me to make them grow.
Yeah. How did Josh do with the? Because I think I've seen the pictures where Josh looked pretty good, but how did he respond to bodybuilding?
Who's that?
Josh Bryant.
Oh no, he great. Yeah, no, he was awesome. I mean, he could have won, without a doubt. I think the dieting and all that started getting to him. He got very, very cranky towards the closer we got. His ego didn't take it well. When he could only do like 10 reps to 500 in the bent over row or something. He didn't like that. And him and Branch kind of had like a falling out because I'd gotten him a job at Branch's place training people. And then, Josh Josh was a pretty rough character back then, man. And that place was more intimate, training of like, very wealthy housewives and things like that. I think maybe it wasn't a good fit for him. And so he stopped working there. But then when Brad should be in here working and I'd be over there training with Josh, he'd like want to one up him on everything, which, I mean, weight wise, I'm sure he could, and anyway, I remember one day we were in there and the biggest problem he had was like the detail of his back. I mean, his back was huge, but when you do a rear deltoid bicep, there wasn't any detail. It was just friggin', just massive. And I said, man, we got to start squeezing those reps, man. You got to hold it and stop worrying about all that weight so much. I mean, let's lighten up the weight, blah, blah, blah. And I forget, man. I mean, it wasn't like lightweight. It was like 365 or something like that, and I was trying to get him to do it that way. And I remember he got mad and he threw the bar down. Well, we're on a bent over rope platform. So there goes a $300 bar just got ruined. And just, of course, I'm sure I called him something, who knows what, Next thing I know, I'm shoving him, he's shoving me. And I'm like, okay, if this goes down any much further, if I can't knock this kid out in 2 seconds, I'm dead, And then he's like, look at me, F bodybuilding, I'm done with this shit. I'm like, thank you. I'm glad. I think that's the best decision you've ever made. And so he didn't kill me, and then he went back to eating, started feeling good again, and went on to lift lots of crazy heavy weights. But he never did bodybuilding after that, man. But I mean, his side chest was kind of like Arnold's side chest, where like when he'd hit it, it would like be up here somewhere. It was crazy looking. His front deltoid bicep was great. Most muscular was great. He wasn't really at that point of hardness yet to where we could have seen how great his legs could have been, but I'm sure they would have been great as well. And his back would have been great. He just had to get more detail. I mean, he had a great physique. I mean, he still does. I have a lot of respect for Josh, man. I mean, he's a very smart guy.
Who's the craziest person to come through the gym?
The craziest?
Craziest. And then the strongest besides Ronnie, if you got that.
Man, I'd have to say one of the strongest I've seen is the guy from the Strength Cartel, that Pitbull. He came here just to press those 250-pound dumbbells we got because they can't find any that big anywhere else. And we've had a lot of people try them. I mean, I bought those for Ronnie for when he was doing 200 for 15. Well, I said, well, the next step up. So I bought a pair of 225s and a pair of 250s. And the 250s, no one has ever pressed them. Actually, no, I don't think anyone's ever done the 225s, like a really what you consider legitimate, And I mean, I've used them for shrugs, I've used them for one-arm rows and things like that, heaving them, but I can't remember anybody ever pressing them. But this cat, I mean, he took those 250s, sat back with them, turned them all by himself, and pressed them. I mean,
damn.
I thought he was gonna get like 5, and he just got 1. But it was still, it was very, very impressive. And and we had other great strong people. I mean, we had a guy named Steve Goggins. I don't know if you remember Steve Goggins.
Oh yeah.
Steve Goggins was amazing strong for his weight. I mean, he did over 1,000-pound squat down here. I don't know what his best in competition was, but I'm sure it was around there somewhere. He was very, very powerful. I remember his first workout with us. He came over here, wanted to do legs with me, Ronnie, and Mark. And I told Ronnie, I said, man, this dude's like a 900-pound squatter, man. I said, man, he's gonna murder us unless we. I said, just follow my lead, man. We're gonna wear his ass out before we ever get to the squat. So we did like everything you could possibly do before you could get to the squat in high reps. And I remember doing the parking lot lunges, took him out, man. He went down on parking lot lunges, And then after that, we went into squat. And I remember that day, Ronnie did like 500 for 20.
Wow.
I got it for like, I think 13 or 14 or something like that. And I think Steve only got it like for 4 or something like that. But to his credit, that dude come back, and he came back, and came back strong, and just got better and better. And I mean, I forget what his best deadlift down here was, but it was seemed like high 800 something. And this guy 242 pounds. I mean, I would definitely put him up there as one of the very strongest ever. And just a great athlete too. I mean, he could dunk a basketball, and he was like 5'8" or something. Really explosive. Really explosive.
So Ronnie did that after a whole leg workout, the 500 for 20.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah, Ronnie was a freak, man. I mean, his strength level and endurance level was, wasn't like a normal man. And that was all drug free.
So that was those workouts. That's actually like a normal workout. That wasn't just for like the videos and stuff.
Yeah, no, those are just normal workouts, man.
That's crazy.
I mean, like when he did the 805 squat and the 805 deadlift or whatever it was, I mean, that was the most he'd ever done. But I mean, he'd been close to that many times. I mean, the first year he was there, he pulled like a 7. We used to go to this deadlift contest every year, Texas Deadlift Classic or something it was called. And, we'd all try to win our division, and I would win the 220, Ronnie would win the 242, Mark would win the 275. And I think the first year, Ronnie did like 725 or something like that. And I remember when we first started doing the deadlifts, when I told him, I said, hey, man, in 6 weeks, we're all going to go to the show, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, cool, man. And I think I beat him on the first time we worked out, because like we went up to like 585 or something like that. And then the next week, I went to like 600. Well, he went to like 640. I'm like, what the hell? And then the next week after that, he went to like 665 or something like that. And then just boom, boom, boom. And then by the, we trained for it for like 6 weeks. And I'm pretty sure he did a 725. And that was, I remember he wore those tights he used to always wear. He had a pair of them on, and so adding friction to the pull and all that. Yeah, still just yanked it up. Yep.
Yeah, he stayed natural for a really long time, right? Like he competed pro, natural, and everything.
Yeah, I mean he won a pro show natural. And then I think he just got tired of he probably saw him on If I Want to Win Mr. Olympia, and boom. I mean, it really was amazing the gains he made after that. I mean, he went up. I mean, he had a great, amazing physique no matter what. But when with a little bit of help, man, I mean, maybe 50 more pounds of solid muscle. People never really saw what he was totally capable of. I always felt he lost too much weight at the end. Because, I mean, when you got butt striations at 300, why do you need to lose weight?
Yeah. Why? There's no reason. Yeah.
And, like to me, that when he made his comeback after, nearly getting beat in, 2002 or whatever, and he got beat by Gunter Schlierkamp at that Night of Champions thing, or that GNC show.
Yeah.
That next year, I mean, like right before that show, I was like, man, you need to go in like this. Don't lose any more weight. Oh no, they want me to weigh 250. I'm like, why? Where are you going to lose 40 pounds or whatever? He was weighing like 290. And I mean, he had striations in his butt.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're ready to go right now. And we're 5 weeks out or something. But anyway, he followed his plan that the nutritionist gave him, and he got very flat, very small. It didn't work, I mean, he still won, but people, they weren't happy that he won, a lot of them, and he definitely didn't look like his normal self. The legs were still insane, the back was still insane, but like his arms were definitely down. But then, the next year he changed that, and he started eating and ate all the way through and came in and really showed what he could do. And of course, that was the year Jay came back, and basically, that was when the internet got big, and it was kind of like everybody really kind of had it was going to be Jay or Gunter and Ronnie going to be third or fourth or something like that. But obviously that didn't happen. You know, they basically brought him out. He did one pose. So like, okay, thank you.
It's over. Yeah, it was over. That was 2003, right? Yeah, I remember that. That was like.
To me, that was his best. To him, the best. A lot of times I've heard him tell people that it was when he won the Arnold. And he didn't wave it like 230 for that or something.
Yeah, I heard Dave Palumbo. I know you just did a podcast with him, but he said he was at a what do you call it, an expo or something with Ronnie, and he said he didn't know who Ronnie was. He's like, I didn't know who this guy was, and they had a competition there, and it was like who could do, who could bench 225 the most, and who could curl 135 the most. And he said he had no clue who Ronnie was, and Ronnie benched 225 for like 96 reps. He said.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it.
And he curled 135 for like 80 something. He said, and he was like, "Who the hell is this guy? Like, nobody even knows who this guy is, and he could do the most, just freaking insanely strong."
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's crazy to hear from you and stuff that he was natural too when he was doing stuff like that. That's real.
We used to do heavy curls, man. Like 225 for like, I'd get like 8 and he'd get like 15.
Wow.
Mark could do that too, though. Mark was really strong. Yep.
Yeah, Ronnie didn't. In his videos, he looked like he didn't really try with his arms. He just kind of pumped them up and.
Yeah, towards the end, I think he didn't really feel he needed to get them any bigger. They were like 24 inches or something. I remember one day he came walking in and I was just looking at, it was hot, and of course, he's already the most vascular person on the planet. And as soon as that sun hits him, every vein in his arms are just boom, blowing out. And he came walking in the office. I said, "Man, let me see how big your arms are, man." And he's like, throws it up. And I'm like, 24 and a half without a pump. Just walking in.
Oh,
wow. And I did it right. I didn't like slide it or, cross over to one side. Just right around. And when we were cleaning during our forced shutdown from the damn virus, we were looking through a bunch of old pictures, and because we've got so many old pictures up here, it's ridiculous, man. And I found some old black and white ones of Ronnie, and I got a tape measure around his arm, and he's holding it up, and it's like 21 and a half, and that was like his first 6 months here. So.
Wow.
Yeah. Blessed with arms for sure. Really blessed.
I remember the unbelievable video in that one. You don't hear people talk about it really, but he did 315 on the military press seated, like for 12, like easy. It was like looked like nothing, and then he did what? He did like 12 plates on the T-bar rows, something like that. Like
I think that one holds 11.
Oh, 11?
You put like the thin plates on it. It's basically our T-bar row is just basically an Olympic bar stuck in a corner. And I think maybe I added it up. I think it was like 495 pounds, but it's out here in front of you,
Yeah.
So, horrible angle for pulling. And I remember him doing that every time he do it. His biceps would be like, woo, woo. And I'd always just be praying, like, Lord, please don't let his bicep rip. Please don't let his bicep rip. Because, it would move so much. You'd be like, golly, man. But, yeah, he can manhandle some weight. I seen him do 600 bent over row, like 12 perfect reps. I'm talking like bent way over. Like bent over, like further than... I don't know what degree that would be, 90 degrees, but he's like bent over more and just perfect reps.
That's crazy. Yeah, he said he would squat 600 for like 12 to 15, like all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Crazy how strong, man. And of course he's got a lot of injuries now and all that, but in reality, yes, I'm sure heavy training contributed to all that, but I think maybe these doctors have messed him up even more. Maybe, you know, I mean, I forget how many. I think he's had 13 surgeries done.
Yeah.
But, you know, who knows? I mean, I just pray that he'll be able to walk again normal one day. You know, I mean, because I know it kills him. I mean, to be the greatest ever. But the thing with him, he pretty much stays in it. I mean, his mood is like, it's generally always good. You know, I mean, you don't hear him whining and complaining. He just does it. I mean, he'll like say, "Yeah, I just wish I'd have done a couple more reps of that 805."
Yeah, he always kind of seemed a little bit indifferent to his fame and stuff to me. Like he seemed like he didn't really care about you know, like what everybody was like, "Oh man, you're like this crazy dude." He seemed like he just liked working out and didn't care that much about being famous or whatever.
I think he cares about it. I mean, you know, I mean, he definitely has a huge fan base. I mean, you know, I went to Olympia with him this year, and you know, he has a book. It's called "Yeah, Buddy: My Incredible Story," and it's on Amazon. So buy the book. It's an awesome book. It has lots of pictures that have never been seen before of Ronnie. Basically, his story in his words. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there I didn't know about him. And
wow,
he, you know, basically at the Olympia, I was helping him sell books. Well, when he was there, because he also had to go rep his supplement company, the Ronnie Coleman Signature Series. So he, like, when he would leave, it would turn into a ghost town. And of course, some people recognized me, and then we'd sell a few books. But when Ronnie was there, we would have a line, man, like 100 yards long. And, you know, so, you know, he's still, I mean, the workout videos that he did are still, you know, super cool, man. People love them, man. You know, and, you know, like a lot of guys, top guys, I've tried to watch some of their workout videos, and I mean, it's boring. You know, a lot of them, you know, they don't want to lift heavy. You know, I mean, it's definitely a different style of training now.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, some people brag about never lifting heavy, but they still look amazing. So I don't know, man. Maybe, you know, obviously it worked for them. You know, this style of training, it's not for everybody. You know, I mean, it definitely, you know, took a toll on my body. I mean, but you know.
Yeah, I personally, I can't stand when people compare Phil Heath to Ronnie personally, because I'm like, dude, just watch their workout videos. Like, Phil Heath just looks like a freaking, I don't know, like he's like doesn't even compare to Ronnie Coleman, you know? Like it's like it's pathetic. It's like, and it's so uninspiring. It's not inspiring to watch Phil Heath work out.
I tried to watch one of his videos one time and I fell smooth asleep.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know, seeing his condition on stage at the Olympia, I mean, he looks amazing. You know, I mean, I take nothing from the guy. I mean, he's a monster. Arms are incredible, you know, but, you know, his name, The Gift, that's a good name for him. I mean, obviously a lot of it was a genetic gift, you know. You know, there's people out there like that, you know. I mean, I do homeless outreaches all the time. And not everyone, but many times we're doing them, some guy will just come out, "Oh, man, you work out?" "Oh, yeah, I work out, sir. How are you, man?" And they'll be like, "Yeah, they say I should work out," and they'll roll up their arm and hit a shot. And I'll be like, it'll be like a mini version of Ronnie's arm or something, you know. I'll be like, yeah, you probably should, you know. And, you know, it's just, some people just, you know, I mean, everybody knows people like that don't even work out and look like they do, you know. You know, but, yeah, I heard the stories that Phil Heath had, like, you know, 19-inch arms just playing basketball, you know, or something.
Yeah.
Like that. So,
Definitely genetics with him.
bodybuilding isn't fair, man. I mean, it's definitely a genetic, you know, the man with the best genetics, everything else being equal, wins, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, you know. So that's what I tell people here. I mean, I never tell anybody not to do it. You know, we have people here, so many people want to be a pro. I mean, I have people show up here literally, move here. I'll be pulling up. They'll be sitting on my bench out in front of the gym. I'm like, "Hey, how's it going, man? Can I help you?" "Yeah, I come here because I want to be Mr. Olympia." "Where are you from?" "Oh, I'm from New York." I'm like, "Okay. You want to join up?" "No, I'm going to live here, man. I mean, I want you to train me. I want to be Mr. Olympia." I'm like, "What?" I mean, it's happened more times than you can imagine. And of course, I said, well, I don't train people for free. I have a job. I have a schedule I have to follow. I mean, I'll be glad to train you if I can fit you in, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, most of those people, they don't have it, I mean, I can look at somebody and tell if you can be a pro bodybuilder. I mean, to be a pro bodybuilder nowadays, I mean, you got to have some serious genetic gifts, man. And, but I also don't tell them I'm not a dream crusher either, I always tell them, like, I have a guy here right now. He's 6'6". Moved here with a dream of being a bodybuilder. Not Mr. Olympia. He just wants to compete and be a bodybuilder. But he weighs about 230, So I said, well, you've got to gain about 60 pounds. I mean, maybe not that much, but, you got to get bigger. So start working on it, And, I mean, he works hard. He's trying hard. So, and then the other day he's like, man, am I just wasting my time? And he started asking me questions. I said, no, you're not wasting your time, man. If your goal is to do this, then do it, man. And just believe in yourself and try your hardest. And, that's all you can do, man. I mean, I'm not going to be the one that tells you not to do it, because, some of the other older veterans here are like, oh, man, you're too tall. You'll never make it, And then literally 2 days ago, a guy showed up here just out of the blue, and he was from Brooklyn, just traveling, I guess. Just came in, and he was 6'5", about 300 pounds, and looked amazing. Probably had 21-inch arms, big legs, and I took the other kid. I said, hey man, why don't you let him work out with you today? So he did, and I said, you see that? That's how big you got to get right there. So I mean, obviously it can be done. I mean, there's.
What about?
I don't like to tell people no. They can't do it.
What about success as a gym owner? Like, what would you say about being a gym owner? Like, what kind of stuff have you gone through there, and what's led to your success? Because you've had a ton of success as a gym owner. Why do you think you've been so successful in that?
I think with me, I mean, financially, I don't think I've been a great success yet. I'm still waiting for that to happen. We have Metroflex gyms now all across the nation. We're looking forward to hopefully going international. We have, I think right now we're counting them up. I think we have 14 right now between Texas and the United States. The gym business is as far as for me, I mean, I still love to come here. I've been coming here 33 years every day, training folks, working out myself. That the COVID virus, it messed things up pretty bad. But we're pretty much back to normal. I mean, we've gained, I think, 60-some brand new members since we reopened less than a month ago. Some of my gyms, especially out in California, these cats have had huge increases. I mean, one told me he's had 500 new members. I mean, 500. I mean,
Man.
we'd have to get a new building. Another one has had 200 and something, and he's actually adding 4,000 square feet because he has to.
Holy cow.
But for me, I think a lot of it is just being willing to help people, trying to be personable to everybody, try to care about everybody, and you can get full of yourself, like, oh, I trained, all these great celebrities, but your bread and butter is still that guy who's trying to get a 16-inch arm coming through the door, or trying to get his first 275 bench press or his first 400 deadlift, I mean, and you never know what those people are going to turn into. I mean, who knows? I mean, they could become great pro bodybuilders one day, so I kind of try to look at everybody as a possible champion, and it's it's a lot of long hours. I mean, like here, it's Friday. It's I've been here since I've already been here probably 11 hours today. It's hot as hell. I mean, I can't. I have no idea what the temperature is in this room. It's probably 95 to 98 degrees. I mean, I got a little dink fan blowing on me, but you know what? It's all right. I'll be done pretty soon. And you just got to keep going at it, hitting it, and going every day, and just kind of like training. It's the gym thing. It's as far as business, it's a long run thing, man. Like all the gyms that we've had that haven't done well under the Metroflex brand, are gyms that, like, the owner was kind of like, well, I'll come in at 7 o'clock and close at 10. So all day long, he's got either trainers or, someone else running his business. And those are typically the ones that don't do well. You've got to be there. You've got to be hands-on, man. And you got to be able to, you got to inspire your members and you got to help them. And, it's if you expect someone to do that for you, I mean, maybe you could find that one special manager that could do that. I'm not saying it's impossible, but that's one of the first things I tell all the prospective owners. I go, man, be prepared to work long, long hours. I mean, when I first opened this place, I worked all the hours. I was the only one. It was just me. I mean, we started this place with nothing. Of course, and back then, you didn't have to be open 24 hours or till midnight. I mean, gyms would be open like literally from 10 in the morning to 8, 9 at night. That was it, back then. And then 24-hour came along and screwed all that up for us, or whatever, blessed us, so I can spend it how you want to look at it. But of course, now they're supposedly going bankrupt and gone. The one down the street from us, it's over for them. So hopefully we'll be getting a bunch of their members, because I'm sure they had thousands. We've got a lot of big corporate gyms around us. I mean, I got a bunch. I mean, there's probably about eight or 9 gyms within 5 miles of me, and they're all big. But, like, we have that niche. You have that niche, those people that want to train hard, the ones that want to make gains, the ones that want to sweat, the ones that want to be competitors and things like that. I mean, not just in bodybuilding. I mean, football players, baseball players, all that stuff. I mean, I started playing baseball 5 years ago again after 40 some years and not playing at all. And of course, it was an eye opener for me. I mean, I lost so much of my athletic skills, but got some of them back, and I've learned how to train people for that sport as well. And I've had good results with that as well. Because really, to me, like things like baseball, still just about explosive power. The way most people train for baseball is making them run long distance and do like these long, exhausting workouts. I mean, you're either throwing a ball with explosive power, or you're swinging a bat as hard as you freaking can. I mean, it's one rep. So I do a lot of one rep stuff with these kids, man. I mean, like literally, like speed pulls, stuff with chains or bands, or a lot of stuff like that. But anyway, I'm getting off the subject. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's great.
Basically, my success, I think, is just never giving up, man. Just continuously going forward. I mean, I'm not perfect. I get depressed just like everybody. I get days where I forget how blessed I am. I mean, I'm not having to go punch a clock somewhere. I'm not having to go sit on an assembly line and with a ratchet gun.
Yeah.
Like a zombie or something. I mean, I still get to do things, and like if I want to go get my hair cut, I can still go around the door and go get my hair cut or whatever, or something, just.
Yeah.
Yeah, very blessed. And I think everybody forgets that in their job. I mean, I don't care what you do. I don't care if you have the best job on earth. I mean, I think people we all get complacent, and we all forget how blessed we are a lot of times.
Well, that was something that I really, I found super inspiring, was like how you would pray with Ronnie and stuff. And that's kind of like the last thing I wanted to ask you about was your, your faith in God, and like how that has played a role in your life and stuff like that.
I think for me, I mean, I've always had faith. For a long time, I got away from it. Just like everybody, I'm sure, has times in their lives. When I really got strong with my faith again, started using the benefits of this business to tithe and do things with my church. I mean, I had a very small church. It was just like this gym. It really reminded me of this gym. It's called Open Door Church in Burleson, Texas now. But when I first started going there, we were in Joshua, Texas, which is a tiny town. We basically did nothing but outreaches. I mean, we literally had people coming into our service wearing overalls and no shirt and barefoot. I mean, I'm talking hillbilly heaven out there. And, it was, I'm like, man, how we, and the church was still making a huge difference worldwide, blessing people. Like everything they made went to doing what the church should do. Bless the unfortunate, help the widows and children, and feed people that didn't have food. And that is now grown into a huge ministry, to where I'm just one of many people that give them a substantial amount of money, and the church is in turn growing. When I learned how to tithe, God in turn seemed to just open up the doors of blessing for me. And we, putting, like, I've got some scriptures on the wall in here. I've got a picture of Jesus with a cross on his back. I've got him, looks like about like Ronnie. I mean, I got him very muscular. I mean, because a lot of young kids, they don't really know the Jesus story, and they do, and they think of other Christian people, and they think of being weak or frail or a wimp, where in reality, I would say Jesus, I'm pretty sure he was extremely strong. And, I mean, he took just to endure the beating he took to go to the cross was, would have killed anyone else, I'm sure. And even in the heroes of the Old Testament, like King David, these guys were supernatural warriors, man. Even just think as a young boy to go up against a 9'4" giant Goliath, that's like the minimum they think he was, with a sling and a stone. That took some serious nuts, man. Of course, he said, he believed because he knew he had God on his side, But also, just all their stories of battles were just incredible, man. So, I think that's one thing too that I try to encourage people that, if you're a Christian, that don't mean you have to be weak. You can be very tough, very strong, and probably the strongest people are Christian. In fact, when you really dig deep into their roots. So, yeah, for me, it's really a no-brainer. It's just, I wish I could go to church tonight, but I wouldn't mind having church every night, man. Because I'm a screw up just like everybody, man. I'm just a man. But I've been very blessed, no doubt about it.
Did that seem like a kind of divine intervention with like Ronnie coming to your gym? Because Ronnie's like, he's pretty into God too, right?
Yeah. Yes. I think, just all of them really. Ronnie, Branch as well. I actually got baptized with Branch because
wow.
He actually he would go to our church before he moved. Now he lives very far away, but he's a believer as well, and there's been a lot of God stories here, man. There's been people get saved right here in our parking lot. I don't sit there and try to cram the Bible down people's throats, but if they ask or they want me to pray for them, that's I'm ready. We had a chance to have a reality show here at one time, and they would always we had this big giant cross, and they're like, well, every time we're trying to film, this cross is in the background. I'm like, perfect. That's her like, well, we don't want it in the background. I'm like, well, why not? And then. We're a little concerned, about you, Ryan, and I'm like, well, I'm just gonna tell you right now, man. You put me on a reality show where I get to speak out to 1 million people. I'm gonna glorify God in some way. Period. And that became an issue for them, And then they one time they emailed me like, well, what if a Muslim comes into your gym? I said, I got probably about 30 Muslim members. I treat them just like I treat everybody else. I don't treat them any different. They love me. I love them. They're great. Well, what if a Jew comes in there? I said, well, last time I checked, Jesus was Jewish, but that'd be wonderful. I got a girl down here. She's Jewish. She calls me her dad. She used to play with my other daughter. And, I go, I don't have a prejudice against anyone. If you're a real Christian, you love everyone. Black, white, Latino, whatever, it doesn't matter. You have to, really, you have to believe and you have to love everyone. That's what the Bible says. So, but and that's why I think we never did get that a reality show, because that was a big issue for those folks, man. I don't know. That would have been cool. It would. I mean, I'll tell you what. The dadgum trailer they made, boy. I mean, you think some of the videos Ronnie make you want to work out? It was badass. But
What channel was it?
Oh, they never got it on a channel.
Okay. So,
You know, they at first it was Spike TV is who they're trying to get it on.
oh, okay.
And I mean, they tried the History Channel. They tried a bunch of channels. You know, History Channel because we had a history here. You know, we've been here for a long time, and but they also did a lot of like one night right before the Olympia, and I told Branch when we were talking about it, I said I'm never gonna promote bodybuilding in a negative light. You know, I don't want like the bullying aspect and all that kind of crap. You know, and he goes, I agree, man. And then it was right before the Olympia. And him and Johnny, they were kind of like going to be the stars of this thing, except Ronnie had retired. They were going to Olympia like literally in about 4 or 5 days. Well, these people, they wanted us all to go eat at a steakhouse, you know, a high dollar one in Dallas. I'm like, these guys can't go out to eat. I go, they can't even smell that kind of food right now. They'll lose. They're basically eating like boiled chicken and lettuce right now. You know, I mean, you know, you see how angry they are when they're working out. I go, no, that ain't gonna work, man. And I told Branch, I said, man, do you want to go to this? I mean, they're wanting this. He's like, no, I ain't gonna do that. It's nuts, man. And then I'm like, yeah, that's what I thought. Well, then that director started talking to him like, you know, hey, you know, if this thing goes big, you know, y'all are gonna start making some big money. Blah, blah, you know, I mean, we weren't going to get paid that much the first season. But if a network buys it, that's when you make the big money. So next thing I know, he's like, hey, we're going to do it. I'll meet you over at the steakhouse at 6 o'clock or whatever. I'm like, I got shorts and a tank top. I can't even get in there dressed like that, you know. And he said, well, they're getting like a private room. And so he brought me like a shirt to wear. And the whole thing was staged. They made him throw a temper tantrum over someone wanting butter on their steak or some crazy stuff, and threw it against the wall and stormed out of there, grabbed his wife, drug her out the door, and all this. And I'm just like, oh man. I mean, it looked like I mean, they're like, man, you did a great job acting. I go, man, I wasn't acting. I go, me shaking my head in disgust and disappointment. That was real. And I go, that's the last thing I want people to see him do, you know. I mean, that's, you know, all that stuff. It's all about, they want controversy and they want, you know, people infighting among each other and crap. Like, it's just weird, man. I'm like, no. And you know, and it eventually got to the point where they were, I forget what channel it was, but it was like a channel that was more family oriented. They said, well, there's nothing about God in here, and there's nothing about this, there's something that, and we like to represent that in our shows. Well, then all of a sudden, well, hey, Brian, he's like a pastor. I mean, you know, he does this, he does that, and he blah, blah, blah. And when they turned, then now all of a sudden, they wanted that. I just thought, you know what? I'm out, man. I'm done. I said, because before, I mean, you couldn't even see any of our scriptures on the wall or the cross in the background. So, you know what? I'm done, man. I'm not doing it. And it never happened. So.
Wow.
You know, yeah. So, but really, I'm hoping that we do get, you know, I'm really hoping we get a bunch of new gyms. I mean, that's my goal. And, you know, I want every one of them gyms to promote God in some way or another. You know, I mean, they got to put, they have a very small requirement. You got to put a scripture up on the wall.
Wow.
That's it. And I've lost some gyms because of that, you know. I had one guy from the Middle East, man. I was talking to him for a couple of months, man. I mean, he loved me. He'd seen all the videos. Everything was cool. And then when I sent him the agreement, man, I mean, he went insane on me, screaming. You know, I mean, I would never put this on my gym and da. I'm like, okay, we'll call it, you know, Jihad Gym. I don't care, whatever. But you know, don't call it Metroplex. Good luck. You know? So yeah, so that didn't work out with that cat. And he was gonna like open 4 of them supposedly. You know, supposedly had, you know, he was like some kind of Persian royalty or something. I don't know, man. Anyway.
What is your favorite scripture?
Man, I don't really have a favorite one. I really don't. I mean, Philippians 4:13 is on the wall here, about 20 places, I think. But I mean, I honestly don't have a favorite, man. I really don't. It's probably should. I mean, I like the one, put on the full armor of God. So you'll fight against the wiles of the devil. Shield of faith. All that, sword of the spirit, all that stuff. That's a powerful one. But I don't really have a particular favorite.
Okay, last I'll let you go because I know you got stuff to do. But where'd the name Metroflex come from? Where'd you come up with?
Well, we're here in the DFW Metroplex, so basically, it's kind of an issue at times because Metroplex, people that don't know us, a lot of times will Metroplex Gym, but I don't know. One day we're just kind of thinking. And it just popped up, man. I'm like, Metroflex, man. I mean, we're Metroflexed, and that was at least 33 years ago. It might have been more. I mean, I was thinking about that the other day, man. I think we actually opened in '86. September of '86. I know we opened in September because I watched the video the other day, and I always thought it was '87, but I was doing a powerlifting meet in February of '87. On this video, and I'm like, man, I remember training for that. And I remember starting to train for that when we opened the gym. So I believe we actually opened in '86. So I guess that's 34 years coming up, man. Which is hard to believe, man. Really hard to believe. But we're still here, man. I got a few more wrinkles and a lot more injuries and all that stuff, but we're still hitting it and still changing lives, hopefully in a positive way. And, I pray to God that we do get to spread the Metroflex way throughout the nation and really throughout the world eventually, because there's a niche for this type of gym pretty much in every town, I think, any town of any kind of population, there's guys there like y'all that want to train hard, man, and want to have a place where they can use chalk, where they can hear some loud music, where they can drop a weight without the lunk alarm going off, where they can take their shirt off and hit some poses after they're done training. It's all part of it. And anyway, yeah, I'm hoping and believing that that's going to happen. I'm really hoping for a big increase in that. Over the next year, especially if these big corporate gyms keep closing down, man. I mean, back when I started this, there was a lot of small gyms, and then they all got wiped out. And then CrossFit kind of brought that back some, with the smaller boxes, but yeah, I'm really praying that happens, and we have a huge increase in that as well. And and just I pray every one of them glorifies God like they're supposed to. And, we've had so many blessings, with so many people, and so many good stories of great champions rising up, man. And I mean, it would be wonderful to get another Ronnie to come through here. Will that happen? I don't know. I mean, obviously that's a 1 in a billion type man, but it doesn't mean it can't happen. It doesn't mean, I mean, Branch almost got the Olympia. He got second one time. Came pretty close. Won the Arnold twice. So.
If I wanted to open a Metroflex, say, well, how would that work? I mean, what does someone have to do if
they wanted to? Basically, all they got to do is email me, or you can go to our website, metroflexgym.com. There's says licensing the hardcore dream or whatever. Contact us. Any of those kind of will come to me through an email. I like to do it. I kind of like to have people fill out a form. I mean, some people think they can open up a gym with $10,000, and unfortunately, that's not the case anymore. But we kind of you kind of feel someone out. There's some people that are very serious, and there's others that they're just curious. But it doesn't matter. We respond to all of them, and from there we just start kind of moving forward in the process. Then we'll start talking to them on the phone and going forward from there, and it's just really, really, Really hope we get some more new ones, man. I mean, I've got a lot of inquiries, man. A lot of inquiries from California, man, here lately. I mean, it's been crazy. It seems like every inquiry I get from California somewhere here lately.
You know what's funny
We
is
already got 5 all in one area, kind of, and they're all fairly close to each other. It's like Long Beach, Oceanside, San Diego, Murrieta. They're all right there, and they're all good. They're all doing good, man. I mean, they're all awesome gyms, man.
there's one like 15 minutes from my house and or my parents' house. Pastor Kevin opened that one in Jefferson, Wisconsin.
Yeah, there you go.
So I've been to that one. I know Pastor Kevin. He's a guy. He's got tattoos all over. He doesn't look anything like a pastor. But
which is, that's what I love that. Yeah, Kevin actually came here years ago. I didn't charge him a penny for that gym because I said, as long as you promote the Lord, you do church services and
he does
charity work, I give that to you for nothing. And I did. And, and I mean, I believe he's done a good job, and, but that's a perfect example. I mean, you don't have to be a wimpy, white collar, silver spoon-fed person to be a Christian, man. I'm here's a combat veteran, ex-Marine, all tatted up, and, and he is what he is, man.
Yep.
Is that where your dad goes, Pete?
Oh, no, he doesn't lift heavy weights or anything, but it's kind of cool, though, because it's not like a huge metropolitan area. It's like a pretty small area, Jefferson, Wisconsin, but it's like, 15 minutes away from my parents' house. And the last time I was there was like a year and a half ago, because I don't make it home much, but I checked it out. So, yeah, he's a good dude.
Yep.
I know, man. Well, we appreciate your time, man. I really, really enjoyed this podcast a lot. I appreciate you opening up and sharing all those stories. And, yeah, man, we'll stay in touch. And you're going to be seeing me and Pete just throwing some muscles here on the show.
Oh, yeah.
Just when we start putting some of this bodybuilding to work.
Yeah, I mean, it's all good, man. I mean, it won't hurt you, that's for sure.
No. Well, maybe a little bit, right? It might need some surgeries one day down the road, but
I mean, let's face it, if we're in this game for time, eventually you're going to get some kind of injury.
Yeah.
But if you didn't try hard. That's how I look at it, man.
Yeah. Right on, man. Well, thank you very much, man.
Appreciate it, buddy.
And God bless you and have a good rest of your night.
All right. Thank you all so much.
Thanks, buddy.
All right,
see you
bye-bye.
next.
I really, it was a lust for women that really drove me into the world of bodybuilding and all that, because I found out that, the more I got built up and all that, the more it attracted girls. And I was kind of shy, when I was real young, but as I got older, of course, that all changed. I got into the world of nightclubs. A lot of people didn't have fun before they knew the Lord. I mean, I had tons of fun. I had more fun than the law allowed, basically, I had a lot of fun, but I didn't have true joy in my life, I wasn't one of the people that was miserable, but I think the Lord really, with me, he had to reach out and smack me down to get my attention, and really for me to get back into the church. I mean, I had a few times where I kind of came back for a while, but I pretty much stayed lost for a long time. I always had it in my heart, I was raised right, and I grew up in the right type of environment, and just being in the Pentecostal type environment, you see so many things, even when you're around the evil people, right from wrong, Basically, my whole thing was just girls. I mean, that was it, and I didn't steal or do that kind of stuff. But I got involved with drugs and things like that, because that brought more girls. Girls did drugs, well, I do drugs too, And smoked marijuana for 37 years, every day. Every single day. Couldn't drive across town without smoking a joint. I couldn't live without it, And then, thankfully one day in church here, about 4 or 5 years ago, I mean, I just put it out. I mean, I just knew right then that it was no longer, God's will for me to, to do that anymore, and He wasn't going to be nice to me about it anymore. I mean, I kind of thought, well, I'll cut back. It'll be all right. I'll do it every once in a while, But if I'm going to be a testimony to folks, I had to quit it. I mean, kind of hard to try to save somebody after, to blowing smoke on them, So, I don't think it's a salvation issue even to this day, really, with folks. I mean, I know a lot of people are in that bondage, just like cigarettes and a lot of other things in this world, prescription drugs. But you can certainly overcome it, with God's help. And for me, it was very easy to overcome. I mean, really easy. I just turned my back on it. One day in church, I turned my back on the natural. I turned my back on that altar. I faced the door, and I prayed out loud to the Lord, I'm done. And, I'm sure my wife was freaked out when she saw me, dump, several $100s of that crap down the toilet, I mean, she was very happy, of course, but I'm sure she was shocked. And I've never done it since. Not one time.
Very good.
Such an honor to have Brian Dobson here today with us. And so much give it up for Brian. Grab that mic from my wife right there. That's all right. Break it, brother. We'll buy more. We're just glad you're here. Don't worry about the pot plant. Does he do this at home? God does all things well. We moved here, got a little close to the church. I didn't want to wind up an old fat preacher. And I said, I need to find a gym somewhere I can go work out a little bit and lose a few pounds. I can throw a rock and hit a Lifetime Fitness, which is a multi-million-dollar complex. One of the things you're going to find out about him is he just calls it like he sees it. He's one of those guys, he don't scratch where he don't itch. And he don't laugh if it ain't funny. And he don't say what he don't mean. I like people like that. Out of all these gyms around, I wound up in the hot house of the Metroplex. Walked in the gym, we just basically was talking about what the membership would be, and wanted to watch my finances. I thought, man, maybe this will work out for me. And he said, what do you do? And I thought, this is where this big dude runs me off right here. I said, I pastor a church. We have a starting church in Arlington. I told him the name of our church. And after that, it wasn't any more talking about the gym or working out. It was all talking about what Jesus Christ has done in his life. Would you put your hands together and welcome Brian Dobson here with me today? I give God praise for him. And we're blessed and we're honored to have him.
We know who he is.
That's exactly right. We talked a long time and talked about God and everything that God done in his life. And I told him, I said, I want you to come and I want you to be in service with us on a Sunday. And I want you to share your testimony of what God has done in your life. And a man who has had some incredible successes. And I want you to take just a moment, Brian. We're going to start on the stuff of what got you into the bodybuilding world, weightlifting. He's trained everything from power lifters to bodybuilders to pro football players. Well, talk just a little bit about what got you in that, how you got started.
Before I say anything, I just want to pray that the Holy Spirit inhabits every person here today, Lord God. I just ask Heavenly Father, you just rule and reign over the atmosphere of this house right now, Lord God. If this word, my testimony goes out, that it reaches deep into the heart of people who need to hear it, Lord God. So that the blessings that I never knew I could have, Lord, that came from you, is available for every single person here. And Father God, I just pray that these people will hear it. Someone will come to know you today, Lord God, that didn't know you before. And Father, we just thank you in the mighty name of Jesus.
Amen.
It was a little bit awkward actually after hearing Bobby go off, man. Man, love it. I mean, at our gym we do play some secular music, and we receive a lot of criticism from that, but I believe I can get down pretty well with it. You need to make me a CD. Big iron, baby. Hey, wait! I look at these folks here, and I heard God tell me a word. The word was passion.
All right.
Ooh. Yeah. Y'all saw I got to forgive me. As soon as the Holy Spirit hits me, I start crying. All right. It's horrible for that like me because we used to beat people up in my young days, kind of dominating even in my world of now. But God's a comedian, and he likes to do things like that. Actually, I think it gets people's attention when they see me crying like a little girl if you're having STD moments. But the word I heard while I was during this praise and worship day was passion, and that if we're going to reach this city, Arlington, first of all, you're going to have more than one service, brother.
Amen.
I believe he told me that. At first I thought that it was going to be a new building, but now I believe it's going to be this building right here.
All right.
Because. But you got 1% of the population of Arlington. It's going to be about 3,000 people in that church. It's 1%. I mean, you're fighting hell with a water pistol. But it don't matter because he's going to raise up an army. God anointed me to raise up champions, and Jonathan, he raised you up to raise up warriors for Christ.
Amen.
Yeah. You're going to have that Saturday night service, I believe. Sunday morning.
Somebody in Rock Church ought to be shouting right now.
And who knows what's going to go on from there, man. I'm sorry you're going to work all day on Sunday, but the harvest is great. Yes. The workers are few. He's calling you to bring it in.
Amen.
Before you go, I have another word for you, brother. I know that when you worked as an evangelist in front of thousands of people every Sunday, getting paid the big paychecks and living high in the hog, I called you to come here to Arlington, Texas, in the hood. You started out with 5 people first service. And I know you told me that you felt like you were a wind-up toy for those people, those churches, and just got up there and put on a show. And I'm going to tell you right now, man, people you'll never know are going to greet you in heaven and thank you. Thank the Lord. You brought those people to know Him. If you hadn't been there on those Sundays, reaching those folks, they would never know the Lord. So it's going to be awesome when you get there, brother.
Amen.
That's enough of my prophesying for right now. But basically, this gym started over here right down the street on Cooper. Back then, we used to go dove hunting across I-20, 25 years ago. I mean, Arlington was a different time then. You know, this was a very elite part of the city back then. And, you know, you didn't have no day laborers wandering around drunk all day long, up and down Cooper. You didn't have people coming to your door begging for money because they're addicted to crack or methamphetamine. And it was a different time then. And you know, I started out, and it was bold, you know, to start out. I started out with a $2,000 investment, got lucky, got that gym started, and, you know, really started because I didn't want to work out at a lifetime stuff. It just was hard to work with, you know. And, you know, God blessed me, blessed me big, you know. In 1990, some man named Ronnie Coleman, you know, who was an Arlington police officer. Right. He sent him to the gym, and I didn't really know at the time that was from the Lord, you know. But I do know now. You know, Ronnie calls me his angel. And, you know, Ronnie gives glory to God. You know, when he won those Olympias, you know, he lay prostrate on the floor the first time he won. And it was, oh man, he fainted. But he didn't faint. He was giving God glory. And I started with something different, you know. And, you know, God anointed me to be able to raise champions, you know. I mean, I tried for many, many years to make it to that pro level, and, you know, it wasn't from lack of trying, but, you know, I mean, it's a very elite thing. It's I mean, I don't know, 1 out of every couple 100,000 might make it, you know. And really, the sacrifice of your body, really at that level, I wasn't willing to use with the different drugs that were required and all that. I was, you know, that wasn't for me. And, you know, I did well, but I think what God called me to do was to build champions, really, you know. And, you know, after Ronnie, I really started to realize that, and, you know, because of him, he really got us on the worldwide map, and people knew what we were, and we knew we were different, you know, and the word hardcore became real cliche, you know, hardcore. Did Jesus come? Tell him I'm doing good over here. I'm sorry, I know that's embarrassing. Anyway, you know, the gym, you know, really because Ronnie got a lot of notoriety, we started growing, and, you know, I really was very, very, I still was living kind of with a poverty mentality. I didn't really, I mean, I knew I was introduced to Jesus as a young boy. And, you know, I don't want to go into all that, so we'll be here till 4:30 this afternoon, but, you know, I knew him as a young man. So, even though I worked 10 years in the nightclub business and went as far to the dark side as a man could go, he was always there tugging at me, pulling me. What are you going to do that for? You went into the drugs? And I knew it was wrong, but I did it anyway, you know. And, eventually, I did so many drugs that, you know, I couldn't hear them anymore. But, and it carried over into the gym life, you know. I was addicted to marijuana for well over 30-some years. I mean, I'm talking every day. I'm talking, I couldn't drive more than 30 minutes without smoking. I couldn't foresee that. I mean, I didn't measure destinations and distances. I measured it, how much I was going to have to smoke to get there. And there's one of my brothers here today, Brother Jay, you know, he remembers I'd have him watch the gym, and I'd go tell him to go into the bank. 5 o'clock. I'm going to the bank. And, you know, and then met my beautiful wife, Randy, and really, it's really because of her that I changed, you know. Show her, raise up, baby. And, you know, she worked in a nightclub too, so you know we had a common background, you know. But she wasn't like the people there, you know. She was different. And you know, I fell in love with her, and you know, I was still living a very dirty life, you know. Even the gym was doing all right, but you know, then I met. Actually, it was before her, you know. A thing called methamphetamine come into my life, you know. And it started out as something like a performance base for me.